Last night on MasterChef Australia,
You both cooked beautifully in that final round.
it was Kate versus Peter in an apple pie bake-off.
Peter, I'm sorry. You're going home.
Hey, congratulations. Things happen for a reason. I think it's time for me to leave the competition and it's time for me to start my new life.
Tonight,
We've got a cracker.
Masterclass is back, and so are 3 MasterChef All Stars. From Season 1, André Ursini.
I'll be cooking a soft polenta with quail.
From Season 2, the Curry King Jimmy Seervai.
You're just packing enormous amounts of flavour into there. That is
the only way to go.
fantastic.
And another All-Star from last year's Top 6, Alvin Quah.
Today we're making Black Sesame Dumplings with the ginger syrup.
Plus Dani gets a huge thrill when she joins her hero, Luke Newen, for a private masterclass.
Till it's nice and crispy.
Oh, look at that colour. I love Masterclass. It's a chance to sit back, no pressure. The classes are getting more and more important, I suppose, because we need to take every bit of information that we get there to be able to use and to help us stay in the competition.
Welcome back to the MasterChef Kitchen and welcome back to another masterclass. It has been a hell of a ride for you guys. I don't think anybody watching this would understand what a tough gig it is. And I can see in your faces, you're exhausted. There are 8 of you left in the competition, and this is where it gets hard. So to revitalise you, to offer you a little bit of inspiration, and to maybe refocus you, we've got some very special guests coming in today to remind you why you came into this competition in the first place, to remind you of that prize, the food dream.
Before we tell you who those very special guests are, we need to talk about this week's private masterclass. And we've got a cracker set up for 2 of you. His Vietnamese restaurant has won numerous awards. But not only his Vietnamese restaurant, his TV series has also won loads of awards. His restaurant was also voted in the top 10 most environmentally sustainable restaurants in the Good Food Guide. A couple of you out there are major fans of this chef. This chef is, of course, Luke Newen from Red Lantern. He's a dear friend of ours and part of the MasterChef family, and 2 of you are going to have the opportunity to get a private one-on-one masterclass with the man himself. The 2 people that we're going to pick are going to spend the entire day with Luke in Cabramatta, which is the heart of Vietnamese cooking here in Australia. Right, who should go to this private masterclass? Dani, you absolutely love Luke Newen. We know that, and we think you're going to have an absolutely brilliant time. Yeah, not too many cuddles, because they get jealous. Okay? And finally, Hayden, you've had a tough week this week. You've been in the pressure test, and we think this will be a great opportunity, a bit of a lift for you, yeah, going into next week.
Cool.
So off you go, guys.
Great. Thanks, guys. See
Enjoy.
you later. Bye.
I am so excited to be spending the day with Luke Newen, who is my food hero. I'm going to learn more about Vietnamese food, and I'm sure I'm going to learn so much from Luke. I'm so happy to be spending the day with him.
We told you earlier that we were going to bring in some special guests. Guests that are going to give you that little boost at an important time for you guys in this competition. Re-inspire you a little bit and maybe focus you also. These guests are very close to us and part of the MasterChef family. They are former contestants. The first contestant to come in and show you guys a thing or two cooked his heart out in Series 1. This person gave us lots of memories. One of them was a really bad strawberry risotto.
Oh, God. It's horrible.
It was
the
terrible.
the worst we've ever seen, actually.
Worst. Like all of you, he made it to the top 8. Now, he didn't win the competition, but he did win something very special. He's achieving his dream. He has his own restaurant and he's running it every single day. The former contestant that we're talking about is André Ursini from, of course, Andre's Cucina in Adelaide.
G'day guys, how are you? Gary?
Andre, how are you?
Very well, George. How are you? How's things?
See you.
G'day guys. My name is André Ursini and I was a finalist on the first series of MasterChef.
There are elements of Greece, elements of Italy, elements of Balmain. Perfect combination.
This is my restaurant, Andre's Cucina and Polenta Bar. I was focused from the very first day of MasterChef. I knew where I wanted to head and I've achieved it, so I'm really happy. My advice for contestants this year is to obviously enjoy MasterChef, but also know what you want to do after. Work hard and go for it.
Now, not long ago, Gary and I came to Andre's Cucina.
Yeah.
And we just sat there
fabulous.
with pride, pinching ourselves, going, he's made it. I think what's exciting is that Andre didn't win the MasterChef title, but Andre won his dream, okay? And this is the opportunity that you all have. I know we say it every day, you're here to win the MasterChef title, but deep down we are so chuffed and so proud that this guy's in there doing it, doing that 90-hour week, you know, because that's important. They're the stripes that you've got to earn, and he's earning them. Andre, what are you going to cook for the guys today?
I'll be cooking a soft polenta con quail, which is with quail.
That sounds absolutely beautiful. I'm going to let you two bump shoulders in the kitchen. I'll go and have a little cup of tea and sit down.
Bring some Prosecco, Gary.
Prosecco, beautiful.
And I'll come back and taste your quail and polenta.
All right, good stuff. Thanks, Gary.
So in Italy, there's pizza, there's pasta, and the third P?
Is polenta.
Polenta.
Absolutely. It's a really popular dish in Northern Italy, more so than the pasta and pizza, and it just is quite forgotten in Australia, and I'd like to celebrate this Northern Italian dish.
Fantastic. Let's get cooking.
Okay.
Andre, what's the first step in this beautiful dish?
What we're doing is we're starting with a sugo, which is a cooked tomato sauce. What we're going to do is just get some beautiful olive oil.
Greek olive oil.
The Greek olive oil.
Well done.
Oh, no, it's the Greek olive oil. Might run into a few problems later on down the track. So we're covering the bottom of the pot there.
Yep.
We've got 1 chopped onion.
Yep.
We're going to put it all
Get
in
you a
there.
spoon.
We're going to start getting to the first stages of brown with that and just cooking it down slowly.
Yep.
Then doing the canned tomato. But meanwhile, we're going to start with the polenta because we use a fine-grained polenta that has to cook out for about 45 minutes.
Ah.
We just get the water to a light boil.
So how much water have you got in there?
We've got a litre there, but because it's cooking for 45 minutes, we're more than likely going to add more water to it, just to get the right consistency through that period. A fifth polenta to water.
OK, so 200 grams.
Rain it in there.
And the reason for reining it in rather than just tipping it in?
Yeah, listen, we don't want it to get gluggy, and that will break it all up. Here you'll see that at the start, it's quite gluggy, or it's quite stiff, and we just want to, through that period, just add more water to it. You could end up cooking this all day. Now, that there really is quite an insipid product. There's really no flavour in it at all, and it's about what you put with it, so it's the vehicle for the flavour. So at the end, we'll be putting Parmigiano cheese and butter, and we'll be seasoning it.
So the onions are sweating. What do we put in next?
We're going to put 2 cans of peeled tomato.
And why don't you chop the tomato up? What's the reason?
We're going to be cooking this for about half an hour to 40 minutes, everything whole. And then at the end of that period, you'll get the oils that split from the tomatoes, and we'll be emulsifying it with a stick blender. And what that does is it gives it a nice creamy consistency. And what you'll find is because you've emulsified it, it actually, if you wanted to eat it with pasta, it actually sticks to the pasta. And so it's one element of this dish. So now with the sugo, we're going to just fill up the can with water. We're going to pour that in and cook that down for about 40 minutes, just referring back to it every now and again, see how it goes. We've also got some whole leaves of basil, and I like to keep them whole, cook them whole, just throw it all in there. I'm just going to put some slithers of garlic. Give that a stir, keep it all whole, and cook it down.
Fantastic. That looks fresh, it looks very clean. You haven't, jammed it with lots of other ingredients.
No,
I love it.
It doesn't need it. It just needs, at the end, seasoning. You need the brown sugar and the salt just to balance the acidity of the tomatoes. And then you'll find that this is a good base for other dishes.
My arm's getting sore.
Yeah, no, leave it. You can leave that.
Okay.
Right? You can leave that, and we'll, every now and again, just give it a stir.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Looks beautiful. The polenta's on, the sugo's on. The next step is to cook the quail.
Coming up.
What do you think, more butter or cheese, or...?
More butter.
More butter?
More cheese.
André packs a punch with his delicious polenta.
Yeah, I love how you said you don't need a large serve of polenta.
No.
Yeah, you do.
Plus,
I can't wait for George to taste it when he finds out how much chili powder's been used in this.
Jimmy Seervai returns to the MasterChef kitchen with a killer curry that everyone can make.
Wow, that is so good.
Then a little later, celebrity chef Luke Nguyen shares his secrets for making a delicious Vietnamese master stock chicken.
So I just want to coat the skin with the oil until it's nice and crispy.
Oh, look at that colour.
Also on Masterclass,
Look at me ordering Matt Preston.
Alvin Quah joins Matt Preston for a lesson in creating a sensational Asian dessert.
We're here with André from André's Cucina in Adelaide, and we're cooking polenta with quail. André, where are we up to?
So the polenta is just cooking away there. It's about halfway there on a low heat.
Yep.
It's looking really silky.
Looks beautiful.
Nearly there. And the sugo we see here is nearly done. The oils have split, and that's nearly ready to actually get the stick blender in there and emulsify that into a sauce.
Delicious.
Now we've got the quail.
You've got basically the legs here. You've removed that bone.
Remove the bone there.
Yep, fantastic.
And you've got this beautiful piece of meat. We're going to stuff them with sage and then wrap them in prosciutto, and we're going to dress the polenta dish with that. So we're just going to season that, salt and pepper, and then put one sage leaf. And this is a classic combination of Italian cookery. Pancetta, game, sage, all works together. Just going to wrap that there.
Lovely.
I'm going to wrap that, and then just stick that in there.
Tuck it underneath.
Tuck it underneath.
I mean, you're using quail, but is there other types of meats that you could use?
Yeah, you could use chicken, you can use duck, but this is actually a classic combination of Italian cookery that's been around for centuries. So.
Right, what's next, André?
Yep. Underneath those little drumsticks on the soft polenta, we're going to have a quail ragu. So we're going to brown off those breasts with some olive oil.
Yep.
On a medium heat, because we don't want to singe these seriously, so I'm going to put those in there.
How long will these take to brown? Just a couple of minutes?
There's a couple of minutes, and I'm just going to give that a little season. Now we're just going to put these little legs in.
Fantastic.
There we go.
So basically you've browned all that quail off till you've got nice colour. So your butter goes in.
Butter goes in, and we're just also going to throw
Thyme
some
goes in.
thyme
And that smells wonderful. Now that's going to go into an oven. What temperature?
At 180 degrees for 15 minutes. Then we're going to take out the little drumsticks, leave the breast in for another 10 minutes. That smells absolutely brilliant.
Smells wonderful. Okay, so...
There we go.
You pulled the legs out earlier, correct?
Yeah, they've been pulled out because we don't want to overcook those. The breasts then store another 10 minutes in there.
Yep.
We're going to take those aside.
Yep. So let them rest before we shred them up?
We'll let them rest. We'll start the sofrito, so.
Okay.
Back on the stove.
So all the oil and butter's in there that you've cooked the quail in. What's the next step?
That's right. Now we've got the mirepoix, or what we call sofrito.
And what's in there?
That's brunoise of celery, onion and carrot. The basis of many good ragus and of Italian and French
How much
cooking.
of each?
This is equal quantities. I'm going to just cook that down.
Okay, a sofrito's sautéing off.
Yep.
What are we doing with the quail?
So now we're just going to tear off pieces because this is going to go into the sofrito. I mean, you can just
Do you want me to help
grab
you?
chunks out of there, yeah.
Yep.
So they've got a slight pinkness in it because it's going to get a little bit more cooking when we put it back on the heat.
Yeah.
But that's coming from the bone just good enough there.
So we've shredded the quail.
We've shredded
the
the
legs are cooked. The sofrito's, sautéing off.
I like to just season at the different points of the dish. I'm going to put a bit of rock salt in there.
Yep.
And a bay leaf. Actually let that cook down a little bit more, and we're going to finish off the sugar by emulsifying it with a stick blender.
That looks wonderful. Looks creamy. It's turned into
Creamy,
like
yeah.
tomato cream.
So we're just going to get some brown sugar to cut out the acidity.
A tablespoon?
Yeah, about a tablespoon, and we'll just taste. Meanwhile, sofrito is ready. I'm going to just put the quail into the fry pan, put it on a really low heat because we still don't want to overcook that. So I'm just going to take that sugar and just coat the pan.
Yum.
Okay. I'm going to take out those little bits of thyme there.
And thyme.
Yeah. Next, guys, we're going to finish off the polenta.
So what do we put in there?
Butter or cheese. It needs to be flavoursome because right now it's quite insipid. So what we're going to do is we'll put a little bit in.
You want me to stir that?
Give it a stir.
I mean, at the moment you've put in maybe 50 grams of butter.
Yeah, and there's about 100 grams of Parmigiano cheese here, grated. But let's be generous.
Come on, Andre.
Okay, all right. Then.
Come on.
Just going to give it some salt. Shall we try it? Can we try it?
Can I?
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you.
What do you think? More butter or cheese or?
More butter.
More butter?
More cheese.
There we go.
So about 100 grams of Parmesan and 100 grams of butter, yeah?
A lot of Italian dishes of ragouts and so forth are finished with finely chopped parsley and just gives it another layer.
OK, so that's ready to go.
That's ready to go.
Shall we plate up?
Let's do it. Just going to scoop some of that polenta in the middle of the clay pot. There we go. Now, second, let's go with the ragu. Scoop that, and those oils as well. They eat well with the soft polenta, so we're going to get all of those oils in there as well.
Oh, that looks so good.
The chunks of polenta. Now I'm just going to get some Parmigiano cheese and just nicely put it over the top there. That's going to melt down, and finish it with our little drumsticks. We're just going to stick into the polenta like that. I wouldn't mind a little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil.
Oh, without a doubt.
To finish that off.
Oh, mate.
And there is my polenta con quaglia.
Just in time, huh? It looks beautiful. I can smell the polenta, I can smell the pancetta.
Looks delicious.
Can we dig in?
Yeah, but we should call out... What do you reckon, Kate?
Yes.
No.
Son? Do you want to taste?
Can I just take a whole leg and taste it?
Yeah, rip a whole leg and...
Yeah, I want a whole leg as well.
Jeez, you've got to be quick around here.
And I was going to say, do we fight for the leg? It's amazing.
Tell us what you're tasting, Kate.
Oh, I think it's just the burst of flavour. There's the oiliness in the sauce, and then the quail, and then the creaminess of the polenta. It's just flavour and texture, everything going on all at once. I could so happily sit down with a massive bowl of that and eat it all by myself.
Yeah, I love how you said you don't need a large serve of polenta.
No.
Yeah, you do.
You know what that polenta needs, though? Strawberries. That's absolutely gorgeous. Anybody that hasn't been to your restaurant has to go, because that little experience there is just a world of food, isn't it? Beautiful.
Can we take a taste back for them?
No.
Sorry.
That's ours.
So here are my tips for polenta con quaglia. Tip number 1, make sure that you rein the polenta in at the start. Tip number 2, make sure that when you're cooking the sugar, you keep the tomatoes whole to emulsify at the end. And tip number 3 is make sure that you use the same fry pan that you've browned the quail in to do your sofrito and your ragu, because it keeps all the flavours in that pan.
Andre, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast. I'm so proud to be back, and I wish you all the best of luck. And guys, if you stick to your dream, you can truly achieve anything. Good luck.
Up next,
What's a butter chicken without a bit of flavour?
Series 2's King of the Curry, Jimmy Seervai, with his beautiful butter chicken.
So the reason why we're making this tandoori chicken is a finishing touch into that sauce.
Then later,
you want to add as well pandanus leaf. It's what I call our Asian vanilla.
Alvin Quah with a delicious Malaysian dessert that's packed with fabulous flavours.
I love the ginger syrup over it. I think it just lifts the entire dish.
The next contestant to join us in the MasterChef kitchen was affectionately known as the King of Curries. He's cheeky, he's fun. He was in the top 4 last year. One of my all-time favourites, Jimmy Seervai.
I'm Jimmy from MasterChef Series 2.
I love that, but that's hot.
It's hot, it is hot.
Jimmy, that's fantastic. I'd happily just stuff the lot. So, congratulations, brilliant.
My main goal as soon as MasterChef finished was to open that Indian restaurant. And Kumar at Aki's has been a fantastic mentor to me. He runs an Indian restaurant the way I would like to. I work at Aki's restaurant 2 nights a week, and what that gives me is the competitive edge. I get to know what customers actually want, and it'll better prepare me for when I open up my restaurant.
You good? Yeah, good.
Good to see you.
How are you? All right?
Whoa.
Does it bring back lovely, fond memories looking at those guys there?
Ooh, nerve-wracking, but it's great to be back.
Yep.
It really
so,
is.
Tell us what you've done since you've left.
As soon as the show finished, I just started cooking. I've been doing work experience in various Indian restaurants, and then I'm in the process of setting up my restaurant as well. I started bringing in flour and actually milling my own flour here for making Indian flatbreads. Do my own rice, my own spice sauces with my mum. We go to different sort of shows and we do curry sauces. My mum loves it. She's always like, I told him how to make this. So it's really good. It's good.
So tell us something about that flour. You're selling it through Coles?
I'm selling it through Coles. So
What's
the flour's it's called Atta flour. So A-T-T-A is the type of flour.
So tell us about that, yeah?
Well, you can't get this specific type of flour in Australia. So I travelled through India and I brought it back and started milling it myself. And it was, you know, I was lucky enough that this fantastic chef made it in a masterclass too. It did it justice.
That'd be me. What are you going to cook for us?
Well, people come up to me all the time. They always want to have a classic butter chicken. So today I'm going to cook Jimmy's butter chicken.
Brilliant stuff.
How hot's it going to be?
Not very spicy. Thanks, mate. Good to see you. Thanks, mate.
I love butter chicken, so I'm really pleased you've come in to show us how to do it. What's the first step?
First step is to make the marinade sauce for the tandoori chicken.
OK, so what are we going to do? First
thing, wet ingredients, thick natural yogurt. So half a cup of thick natural yogurt.
OK.
So I'm just going to put this into a mixing bowl.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Next in?
Next step is to put in the juice of 1 lime. Now we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil.
So this is acting all as the base marinade?
That's right, this is the base marinade.
Excellent.
So now we're going to put the rest of the ingredients in, and we're going to start off with ginger and garlic. So I've got a teaspoon here of fresh ginger, grated in, and a teaspoon of fresh garlic. Then we're going to put in one of my favourite ingredients. That's a teaspoon of garam masala. Okay.
Good stuff. Next.
Okay, so next, this is a bit of a unique ingredient, and it's called kasuri methi. And what it is it's fenugreek leaves. It's got an earthy flavour to it, and it's got an interesting taste, actually. So we'll put that in. So it's a half a teaspoon of kasuri methi. Next step is the chilli powder, and this is a Kashmiri chilli powder, so it's not hot at all. So we've got a tablespoon of Kashmiri chilli powder into the marinade. Obviously, just to finish it off here, we've got about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of salt, depending on your taste. So mix that all up.
Got a lovely colour.
It has. And if you
know, the Kashmiri chilli.
It really does. And if you can actually see straight through there, now I haven't mixed that in completely, you can see that colour leaching through the yogurt. And I've used half a cup of yogurt. You can use a little bit more if you don't want it too spicy, but what's a butter chicken without a bit of flavour? So we just want to get that into a nice uniform colour, and you can sort of see the marinade's taken on that nice colour, and no red food colouring.
Yeah.
So
smells fantastic.
There we go. Yeah, it's starting to smell just like my house. So there we go. We're going to marinate the chicken now, and I've got 600 grams of chicken thigh fillets. And you can see here the reason why we've chosen to use chicken thigh fillets is because it does have a little bit, well, it's got more flavour in it, but it's also got a bit more fat in it. Yeah. And because we're putting it straight into a grill, you can use chicken breast, but you've got to keep a close eye on it because it's going to dry out, it's going to burn.
And chicken thighs are perfect. They braise well, and they've got a lovely texture about them, regardless of, you know, you get more of a leeway in terms of overcooking it, which is great.
Yep.
All right.
So in with the chicken. Okay, so now just give it a light marinade, so nice clean hands, and you can see the marinade, like, I mean, that is just the colour is perfect, and you don't need to add food colouring to it, and just evenly coat that, and we're going to stick that into the fridge, preferably for 24 hours.
Okay. If you can just make yourselves comfortable.
Yep. We'll be back.
Here's one we prepared earlier. OK, so that's been in the fridge 24 hours.
That's been in the fridge for 24 hours.
And what's happened then?
Well, a couple of things have happened. The marinade's had its time to actually seep into the chicken. And what it's done is it's just made that chicken flavoursome because we're not going to be putting too much flavour into the butter sauce. So the reason why we're making this tandoori chicken is a finishing touch into that sauce.
OK. So you're going to grill this, right?
I am going to grill this.
So
well, the oven's going to grill it.
So this is hot grill tray?
Hot grill tray. So we're just going to place the chicken over the top. And what you want to do is you want to have, I guess, a bit of foil to catch a bit of the drippings at the bottom because we will be using that later on in the dish. Okay. So we'll put that on top there. And because this is chicken thigh fillets, they won't take that long to cook. So we'll put this all onto the tray like this.
This smells so good.
Straight into a fan-force grill, or if you don't have a fan-force grill, just crank up the grill.
As hot as it will go.
As hot as you can go, because tandoori chicken is traditionally cooked in a clay oven.
Yeah.
Tandoori really means clay oven. So when you cook it in a tandoori oven, it's cooked at about 400 degrees. So it only cooks, it takes a couple of minutes, the chicken is really tender. So we want to put that in a very hot grill, 8 to 10 minutes on one side, turn it around, 4 to 5 minutes on the other side. So we want it just nicely, lightly charred on the outside.
OK, good stuff. In she goes. So the tandoori chicken is done, it's under the grill. All we need to do is make the sauce.
That's right.
And put this thing together.
Put it all together.
When we return...
It needs a bit of a kick because we're not eating this chicken, it's going into this sort of sweet, buttery sauce.
All I'm thinking is that you're just packing enormous amounts of flavour into there.
Jimmy's stunning butter chicken is ready to serve.
We're making Jimmy's famous butter chicken. And the butter chicken's under the grill, so I think I might get that first before we make the sauce. So it should be done. It's been in for about
8 to 10 minutes on one side, and then we flipped it over and it's 4 to 5 minutes on the other side. That looks fantastic. And to make a good tandoori chicken, what we're really looking for is this, I'm going to say, caramelised flavours that we're going to be putting back into the sauce.
OK, so we'll put that to one side.
Put it to one
we're
side.
going to make the sauce for
We're
the
going to
butter
make the
chicken.
sauce, then we're going to add the tandoori chicken. First things first, we've got to saute the onions and we're going to caramelise them off. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in about 2 tablespoons, again, of sunflower oil. And what we have here is 1 large brown onion finely diced. So we're just going to let that saute for about 3 to 4 minutes, and what we're looking for is for the onions just to go a little bit past translucent. So we've got the onions at a perfect colour. We've got some of them golden, but most of it is all translucent. So the next step is, because it's still frying, we put in a teaspoon of freshly grated ginger. Give that a bit of a stir. The next step is we're going to put in a half a green chilli, so those long green chilies. So we've got that finely chopped up. What we have next is we have about 4 to 5 cardamom pods, and what I've done is I've just gently bruised them, and you can actually see the cardamom seeds that have come out of them. We put the husk, we put everything inside there, because we're going to sieve it out later. So the next ingredient we're going to use is blade mace. And blade mace is the outer shell of the nutmeg, and it's not as strong as using nutmeg. We have about 5 grams here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a large pinch in there because it does have a eucalyptus-y taste, so we want to make sure that we're not putting too much. Next step is we're going to use some cashew paste, and we have 2 tablespoons here of cashew paste, and we're going to fry that off, and cashews have a lot of oil, so it's adding a little bit more oil to the dish.
I love the idea of that. That's a nice idea of using it. It gives it flavour and texture.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And look, we have to let that cook just for about another 2 to 3 minutes on about a low to medium heat, just to seep out all that oil from the cashews. But you've got to keep an eye on it because the cashews can burn as well, so you don't want any burnt butter chicken. You can see that the cashew paste start to caramelise all the onions in there, and you can see at the bottom it's not really burning, so because there's enough oil in there.
All right, so next in, Jimmy.
Okay, so next step is the tomatoes, and we have vine-ripened tomatoes, 600 grams, finely diced. And you can see the tomatoes add quite a bit of moisture to the dish. So medium to high heat, let the flavours get to know each other.
Yep, love that line.
We let that cook for about 5 to 6 minutes, and we just keep occasionally turning it so the bottom doesn't burn. And so the next step is we're going to add tomato puree. So this is going to give it that nice sweet tomato taste, but it's also going to enhance the colour. So 50 mils of tomato puree. A bit of a stir. We're going to let that cook for another 5 to 6 minutes, just on a medium heat and stirring occasionally.
Jimmy, the colour's changed.
Yes, it has.
The tomatoes collapsed. The flavours
Yes.
are starting to come out.
They have, that's right.
What's next?
Next step is we've got to put it into the blender. We've got to make a fine sauce. So we'll throw all of this in here, and we're going to make it into a nice, smooth paste. Okay, done. We're just going to make sure that we start it on a slow blend. So we'll take it on a medium speed for about 30 seconds. There we go. And you can already start to see that's starting to look like a butter chicken sauce.
I love it. Looks great.
It's time to sieve it out because we want to make sure we take out that extra cardamom. So I'll pour that in there and you can see that nice colour.
So that looks just like the butter chicken
sauce. It does. It's starting to look just like
know.
butter chicken sauce.
All
So,
right.
and we'll just send that through and we're halfway there making our butter chicken sauce.
What's next?
Okay, so we put that back into a pan. So on a medium heat pan, and to make sure that we don't have it on too high so it doesn't burn.
Yep.
So we take that off. Thank you very much. Yep. Scrape that back in there. Thank you, Gary.
So we've got the base in here.
Yes, we do.
So now we need to spark that up.
We need to spark it up. And we're going to spark that up with a few more spices, but spices that we've already used in this recipe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the chili powder. And we have, again, that Kashmiri chili powder. Remember that red colour that we had in the tandoori? What we're going to do is we're going to put about a teaspoon of Kashmiri chili powder in. And don't be afraid of this, because this is not hot at all. So you can see it's starting to go a slightly redder colour again. So that's the Kashmiri chili powder. Okay, next bit is the salt. So about a teaspoon of salt, sea salt. Give that a stir. And then what we have here, again, is about a half a teaspoon of the kasuri methi. So that is the fenugreek, the dried fenugreek leaves. But one trick, before you put it in now, because we don't want large leaves, just put it in your hands and just give it a bit of a gentle rub, just so we break down the fenugreek so it turns into a powder and releases some of the oils in there. So you can see that's into a nice fine paste. And then just sprinkle that through. Yeah, so there we go. And again, just give it a nice even mix. Now, next step is to put a bit of honey in it to sweeten it up. So in we go with about a tablespoon of honey. While that honey's in there, we're just going to take this off the heat. And what we're going to do is we're going to add that tandoori chicken. But because we've cut that into 3 pieces of the thighs, what we're going to do is actually cut that in half again. So we've got these nice large chunks of chicken. So in we go.
How big do you want this?
Probably, yeah, that's
like
perfect.
That?
Yeah, that is perfect.
Beautiful. This smells absolutely smashing. And you should never pick, but...
No, no, no. I can't wait for George to taste it when he finds out how much chili powder's been used in this.
Wow.
Nice?
Yeah.
Has it got a kick to it?
It's got a bit of a kick.
It needs a bit of a kick because we're not eating this chicken. It's going into this sort of sweet, buttery sauce.
All I'm thinking is that you're just packing enormous amounts of flavour into there.
That's the only way to go. It is an Indian dish. So I'll put the pan back on to a very slow heat because the chicken is pretty much cooked. We don't want to overcook it because it's going to be quite a bit tough. So that's back into the sauce. Again, that's all nicely mixed up.
So you want all of these juices in here?
Yes, we do, yeah.
You know what? All I can imagine is that tastes absolutely
That does taste fantastic, and that just goes straight in.
Love it. Okay, stir that in.
Fantastic. Give that a bit of a stir. And you can start to see it's really starting to look like a butter chicken now. And that's, again, on a very low heat because we don't want to cook that chicken. It's now time to put in the butter. So we've got 50 grams of unsalted butter. And what I'm going to do, Gary, I'm going to ask you to chop that up if possible.
You know what we'll do?
What
so
we
can just do this.
That's
we?
perfect,
Just
yeah.
drop it in.
Yeah, you can see the butter starting to get into the sauce there and just richen it up. So what we're going to do now, we're going to put a tiny bit of chicken stock. So we've got about a cup here, but I can tell just from this sauce that it only needs about, I reckon, about a quarter of that.
So it's just to adjust it, just to get the consistency
just to
of the
adjust
sauce
the consistency right. Now that that's done, we're going to put in about 100 mils of pouring cream. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to completely stir this one in. Perfect. So now that is pretty much your butter chicken done. All we've got to do is garnish it up. So we've got some fresh coriander here, and what I'm going to do is just give it a quick chop. A little bit more there. That's right, and then that's just for a bit of garnish on the top there. And some green chilies.
Just for Georgie?
Don't tell George.
Don't
Because,
tell
yeah, just tell him it's coriander, he won't know. And there you have it, my famous butter chicken, done.
Beautiful. Well done, Jimmy.
He's got the rice. He's got my famous rice too.
Volunteers to taste? There's a few. Billy.
Oh, yeah.
Ellie.
Bit of rice.
Bit of rice.
Oh, you're going to do a couple? Here we go. Look at that. That looks absolutely smashing, Jimmy. It really does.
Thanks very much. Let's hope it tastes good, you know.
Gotta have sauce.
Over there. Ellie.
Ellie first.
Yep,
Oh,
ladies first,
thanks.
ladies first.
Oh, is it okay?
Wow, that is so good.
Ellie likes.
Oh, Ellie likes.
I love the chicken. It's just beautifully tender. And you can taste that chariness from the grilling.
Yeah, from the grilling.
And the sauce is just really balanced. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love the sauce.
George.
You know what, Jimmy? I'd sweat a lot, but I'd demolish the whole lot. I'd need lots of towels. Look, you can see it's starting to beat up.
Thanks very much.
Well done, buddy.
Take the curry back.
Take the curry back.
Couple of
yeah.
spoons.
There's a little bit of
That's all I
chicken,
got.
one piece left.
My top tips for making the perfect butter chicken. First tip, search out the right spices. You have fenugreek leaves and fresh mace. Second tip, make sure you marinate the chicken for at least 3 hours before using it. 24 hours would be ideal. And my third top tip, make sure that grill is piping hot because you're going to get that nice charcoalness on the top of the chicken.
Jimmy, thanks so very much for coming in and giving them a little bit of inspiration and bringing some of those curry flavours back into the MasterChef kitchen. Good luck with all your endeavours.
No, thanks for having me here. And guys, I've lived the dream. It's now your turn.
Next on Masterclass,
Now, guys, have a feel of these. These are the thin egg noodles.
Luke Nguyen gives a masterclass on making noodles, Vietnamese master stocks, sauces, and how to cook the most succulent chicken.
It's magical.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. That skin is really crispy, the meat is really juicy.
And still to come,
There we have it, my Black Sesame Dumplings with ginger syrup.
Alvin and Matt with a divine Malaysian dessert.
Today, Hayden and I are going on a private masterclass with Luke Nguyen in Cabramatta to learn about Vietnamese food. The last time I saw Luke Nguyen, I was at the greenhouse. I got a little bit overwhelmed. I got a little bit emotional just seeing Luke in the flesh for the first time.
And it's cured for how long? Cured for how long?
About 10 minutes.
You're good.
I know it's so sad and corny, but I'm just really, really happy.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm Luke Nguyen. Hello, Dani. Good to see you again.
Thanks, good to see you.
Guys, welcome to Cabramatta, the heartland of Vietnamese cuisine in Australia. Now today I'm going to cook for you an old school, authentic Vietnamese dish called mì kho gà giòn, which is the master stock chicken with fresh egg noodles.
Sounds delicious. I'm so excited.
But before we start cooking, I want to show you how egg noodles are actually made.
Perfect.
Really?
You want to go check it out?
Definitely,
Yes.
let's do it.
Cool. This is a Chongqing Yang food goat. Guys, noodles, my favorite ingredient in Asian cuisine. Noodles come from China centuries ago. The Chinese invented it. The Italians borrowed that technique, just like they found football as well. Right? So noodles, we've got so many different types of noodles. We've got rice noodles, which are steamed and dried. We've got glass noodles. We've got egg noodles in many different varieties. Now, guys, have a feel of these. These are the thin egg noodles. Have a feel of that. The texture of it already is just gorgeous and it smells fantastic. Now, see how they're quite firm? Now, over here, we have the thicker egg noodle. It's flattened, but it's cut thicker. So it's actually a finer noodle. So people mistake that by thinking it's a bigger noodle. Now, the secret to this noodle, guys, is texture. Never overcook it. Like pasta and risotto, it needs to be quite al dente, nice, firm finish. So never overcook your noodles, and you can cook them so many different ways. You can flash fry them so they're nice and crispy. You can stir fry them as well, and you can actually blanch them in hot water and have it in a nice broth. I can just eat noodles on its own. Yeah. Wonderful, my favorite ingredient in all Asian cuisine. So guys, the Chung family have been making egg noodles for the last 20 years. Yeah, now the process is flour, egg, water, and salt. They make around 300 kilos a day, okay? So it's roughly 10 kilos of flour, 40 fresh, free-range eggs, makes a world of difference, yeah? Water and salt. It's mixing here to a nice firm dough, but you know, nice texture. So that's the first step. And over here, it gets shaped into nice noodle sheets. Okay, so the sheets have been formed now. Now we just need to dust them with more flour, ready for the rolling and the flattening. Just to the right millimetre of width, so it doesn't stick. So all the flour's coming in and it's ready for the machine.
Okay, cool.
And then all runs through there and then gets cut to millimetre thin noodles.
Beautiful.
How cool was that, guys? I'm going to take some noodles. Let's start cooking. You ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
Let's go.
We've seen how our wonderful egg noodles are made. Now we're on to our master stock. Now, the master stock at Red Lantern is around 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
It continues to live, and you've got to keep it alive and keep it fresh. Now, this master stock is a traditional recipe. It's a simpler master stock. Now, we'll try not to rely too much on our spices, but we want to rely on the meat that we're braising, so that meat imparts flavour back into the stock, and it keeps going. Now, I've got some star anise here. Nice, licorice-flavoured, aromatic. We've got, do you know what these are?
Cassia bark?
Yeah, cassia bark, same family as the cinnamon, but I find it more spicy and more flavour, also known as a Saigon cinnamon. And here we have these black cardamom. Yeah, check those out. Smell those. Smell that, Dani.
Before.
Yep. Inside they have little seeds or little pods. Okay, Hayden, I'm just going to guide you through this today, so I'm going to get you to do it.
Cool.
All right? So just throw all those lovely spices into the muslin cloth and just tie it up to a nice bouquet.
Beautiful.
So we're going to throw that in. So I've got 6 litres of water here. Yeah. We're going to put light soy, around ½ litre of that. And I've got dark soy for colour.
Cool.
Around 150 mils. And just some salt, around 2 tablespoons of salt. And the spice bag.
Perfect.
And we're going to bring that to the boil.
Okay.
And then we're going to let it simmer for ½ an hour, just so all the flavours can infuse together.
Perfect.
And they'll be ready for our chicken. So I'll put that on now. Let's have a look at the stock. Oh, guys, get in there, have a smell of that. So that's been simmering away for ½ an hour, so all the flavours and all the spices are infused in there. Have a little taste. Grab a spoon each there. Smells wonderful, doesn't it?
Yeah. It smells absolutely amazing.
Nice colour.
It's quite delicate, isn't it?
It is. It's so subtle.
Light.
Like you said, it's very, very light.
The smell of it is a lot more intense than the actual flavour.
Yes. Now, in Vietnam and China, there's master stocks that are hundreds of years old, passed down from generation to generation. It's really... Cool. And once the chefs retire, they then sell their stocks to other restaurants.
Wow.
Yeah, for $50,000, $60,000. Incredible. So never get rid of your stocks. Keep them all the time. So once that's ready to go, we throw the chicken in. Can you put that chicken in? Breast side down. And then we have to weigh it down just with a plate. Just weigh it down like that. So the chicken doesn't float up to the top, so it poaches nice and evenly. Cool. Now, I bring this back to the boil, and once that boils again, I turn the heat off and just let it poach for an hour with no heat. So you can imagine all the flavours slowly seeping through the meat.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
And getting that nice, tender flesh. Now, whilst the chicken is steeping, we'll make our sauces. First, we'll do our noodle sauce. Cool. Just the sauce where we just run through the noodles and make it nice and flavoursome. Bit of hot water there, really simple sauce. Hot water into the bowl. 125 mils of oyster sauce. So the oyster sauce is a little bit salty, it's a little bit sweet. We need to balance it out a little bit with some brown sugar. Throw the sugar in there. Okay. Yep, just gotta mix it about. So there's around 2 teaspoons of brown sugar in there. And once that's dissolved, just a couple of teaspoons of nice sesame oil.
Smells beautiful.
Yep, smell that. Now, never overdo your sauces with too much sesame oil, because it is quite strong and very, 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 very powerful. Now, we've done with our very simple noodle sauce. Next, we'll do our Nuk Mam Cham, which is our dipping sauce for our chicken.
Cool. Beautiful.
Yeah, lovely. So throw that in there. Vinegar, around 3 tablespoons. 3 tablespoons of some really nice fish sauce. Now, we need to balance the saltiness out and the tartness out with a bit of sweet. Instead of using sugar, I've got young coconut water.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I love coconut water. It's naturally sweet.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
How
so
much
around
do you
a cup of that, just kind of... And that was 3 tablespoons of fish sauce, 125 mils of the young coconut water. Now, let's mix that up and have a little taste.
Okay.
And see what you guys think.
Oh, foxy hand.
Let me have a little taste as well. Is it a bit salty?
Yeah, it is quite salty.
So now that's a bit salty, what cuts through that is fresh lime. So one whole lime or half a lime. Perfect.
Wow. Yum.
Some garlic, just diced garlic, 2 cloves, some fresh chilli, as much or as little as you like. I like a lot. What about you guys?
Yeah, I like a lot.
Good. Mix that up. That's lovely. That's perfect, guys. Well done. So that's our little dipping sauce for our master stock chicken.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Now we've made our noodle sauce. We've got our dipping sauce. Now get back to the preparation of our master stock chicken.
Cool.
All right? Now the chicken's ready, guys. But before we get to the chicken, we have to prepare our basting liquid.
Cool.
Now for that, I'm going to bring to the boil, just a slight boil or the simmer, some white vinegar. Throw that in for me, Dani. So we've got 125 mils of white vinegar in there. We need a tablespoon of maltose. Throw that in there, and it needs to dissolve. Now I use maltose because each sugar has different levels of burning points and boiling points, and maltose has a very high level. So once that's dissolved, yeah, that's okay. Mix that through. That's looking really good. Perfect. Now we don't want it to boil.
Okay.
We just wanted to let it simmer whilst we baste our chicken.
Cool.
All right, I'm just going to turn that down a little bit, and we'll grab our chicken out of our master stock.
Yum.
All right.
Up next,
I'm going to plate that up now. That's
Delicious. That just looks divine.
Luke's crispy, mouth-watering master stock chicken is served.
I love it. It's so nice. I'm so happy.
Today we're cooking one of my favourite dishes at Red Lantern, the master stock chicken with fresh egg noodles. Now we've seen how we make egg noodles. We've done our noodle sauce. You've made our Nuk Mam Jam dipping sauce. Now the chicken's been steeping in this beautiful master stock for an hour now. It's ready to go. The next step now is to baste it and coat it with our nice vinegar and maltose mix. Cool. So Hayden, would you be able to come over and do that for me? Just hook it up there. Just up from the backbone.
So...
And try your best not to...
damage the skin too much?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it hot?
No, it's not hot.
Okay.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Okay, I'll pass it over to you, Hayden. Yeah, hold on to that.
Yep.
And then you want to coat all of the skin with this lovely liquid there.
Okay, so just
of
spread
white
it on.
vinegar and maltose, yep. So be really generous, just coat it. Yep. Now what this will do is create this gorgeous colour when we coat it with some hot oil later on. Now the next step after this, Dani, is we need to hang the chicken to dry so the skin's completely dry. Now that might take an hour to 2 hours. If you've got a nice little desk fan, blow it, right? Get the fan to blow on the skin so it's completely dry, because the next step is coating it with really hot oil so the skin puffs up and it's nice and golden brown and crispy.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But it needs to be dry.
Yep.
Yep. So if you can hang it over there, we've got our fan over there.
Hey.
It's a cute little setup, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cool.
Now the chicken's been drying in front of the fan there for an hour. Dani, can you just poke it and touch the skin, see if it's nice and dry to touch?
Yep.
Yeah, completely dry?
Yeah, it feels really
Awesome.
dry.
If you can just unhook it for me. Hayden?
Yep.
Chop that chicken in half.
Chop the chicken in half, alrighty.
Just down the backbone there.
No worries.
You're a lefty, Hayden.
Left-handed, the creative people are with their left hand.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Okay.
There you go. Beautiful.
Very nice.
Cool. Okay, so he passes that ladle. Little sputter. You throw half the chicken on there, and we've got vegetable oil here, just a neutral oil. It's quite hot at the moment, around 200 degrees Celsius. You just grab a ladle. And I don't want to deep fry the chicken because I want it to be nice and still succulent. Yeah. So I just want to coat the skin with the oil until it's nice and crispy.
Oh, look at that colour.
So this takes a bit of time, but it's well worth the wait. Look at the colour coming up.
Awesome.
See the maltose coming up now?
Yeah.
Nice brown, golden colour.
Oh, that looks delicious.
I know you love cooking chicken over hot oil. So you're going to come over and do it?
Sure.
Hold that.
Try not to burn myself.
Now see how it's getting nice and crispy now?
Don't burn yourself,
So just
Dani.
keep doing that for a couple of minutes until you're happy with the texture.
Okay.
So that colour's looking fantastic now, Dani. I think it's almost done. So nice golden brown colour. Crispy to touch. I think that's wonderful. Let's strain the oil over there. We don't want it to be too oily. We'll get our fresh egg noodles we made this morning.
Beautiful, aren't they?
Now I'm going to take those out and I'm just going to separate them. Just on the board there, so they don't clunk together or stick together. Wonderful. Spider ladle. boiling water. The water has to be boiling rapidly. And I'm going to throw it in there for no more than 20 seconds, OK? So just like that. All right. Once that finishes there, straight into the ice water. So stop the cooking process.
Yep.
So it's nice and firm.
Yep. Nice. They look good.
Look at that. And look at the colour of it. Back into the hot water, just to warm it through, just for another second.
Yep.
Refresh it. Drain all the water off. And then into our bowl. Beautiful. Now, our noodle sauce we had earlier, spoon of that. Now, Dani, throw in a bit of garlic chives in for me, just a little handful. Some spring onion. Yep. We're going to plate that up. That's our little bed of egg noodles there.
Beautiful.
And Dani, that chicken's ready to be chopped. I'm going to place that over here. And you want to grab that chicken and a cleaver and chop that up. Well chopped, Dani. I'm going to plate that up now. That's lovely.
Delicious. That just looks divine.
Now just the finishing garnish. Bit of watercress on the top.
Gorgeous.
Lovely. And I'm going to drizzle a bit of that gorgeous mum jump dipping sauce we made earlier. Just over the top. And we also save a little for dipping sauce as well. And there it is, guys. Our slow braised chicken in the master stock with fresh egg noodles. Gayong, mi ko.
Awesome.
I suppose you want to try this now, right?
Definitely.
Let's get stuck into it then.
Okay.
You know what? Don't worry about your chopsticks. Do it the Vietnamese way. Just use your hands, guys. Yeah, grab a
happy
piece.
with that. Let's go.
Looks so good.
Look at that.
They're succulent bits.
What are you tasting, guys? What do you think?
It's magical.
Yeah?
It's beautiful. It's that skin is really crispy. The meat is really juicy. You can taste the flavour of the master stock.
You can really taste the master stock flavour, and that chicken is so moist and
Succulent, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's the idea. Different textures, lots of delicate flavours.
It is. It's delicate. I love it. It's so
Great.
nice. I'm so
And
happy.
even like you said, you know, when you get a bit of chicken that's on the bone, it's a bit fiddly, but it just gives it that extra bit of flavour.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
You need to have it on the bone.
Yeah.
Now, Dani and Hayden, my top 3 tips for this wonderful dish is make sure the egg noodles are wonderfully fresh.
Yep.
Never over blanch them. Nice, textural and al dente. The master stock, it has to be developed. Never throw it away.
Yeah.
Skim it, strain it,
Yep.
cool it and freeze it and use it again.
Definitely.
And the skin of the chicken needs to be dry before you coat it in hot oil, or else it won't stay crispy and it won't be that beautiful golden colour. It's been so awesome sharing my Vietnamese cuisine and cooking with you guys. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very
I'll
much.
be watching you every night. And I hope both of you can win.
Yeah.
See you, Dani.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you, mate.
Appreciate it.
Our third and final guest was a contestant on Series 2, and he got all the way through to the top 6. Now, to introduce him and cook with him, because he was one of Matt Preston's favourite contestants, Matt Preston himself. Mr. Alvin Quah.
I'm Alvin from Series 2 of MasterChef. These days, I'm all about getting my food out there, whether it's through TV, social media, or online blogs. I've got a blog called Cinnamon Pig, and that's where I actually do a lot of recipe testing. It's all about taking photos step by step, putting it on the blog so people can actually follow it and be courageous in the kitchen. My mission is to get as much of my experimental, weird and wacky food out there for people to just want to go, yep, I want to try that.
Good to see you.
How you doing?
How are you, mate?
Good, thank you.
Fantastic. Welcome to Masterclass, Mr.
Megan,
Preston.
nice to see you.
Look at them. I'm over here.
Hi.
When it came to choosing a contestant to bring back for Masterclass, and I was asked to pick one, it had to be Alvin, not only for the food that he's put up in this kitchen.
My dish is called Drunken and Bruised.
Alvin, that's an absolute dead set ripper of a combination. Well done, you've absolutely nailed that challenge.
Thank you.
But also from how he's gone on since leaving the kitchen, chasing his dreams. He's got a cookbook in development, he's got a TV show in development. So the idea was to try and bring people up who are going to inspire you and show you that when you leave here, no matter whether you leave in the top 2, the top 4, the top 6, the top 8 that you can go on and make your career in food.
Well, Alvin, what are you cooking?
Today we're making black sesame dumplings with the ginger syrup.
That sounds beautiful. I'm going to leave you two to cook, and I'll come back for a little taste later. Cheers.
Thanks.
So, Alvin, first steps.
Right, so we're going to start making the caramel. So we've got about a cup and a half of Malaysian palm sugar or gula melaka.
It's very salty, very molassesy, isn't it?
It's a little bit different to brown sugar, although if you can't find this, which I really doubt, you can actually use that as a substitute. So we'll add that in. And to that, we're going to add about half a cup of water. So essentially, we're making a caramel. Yeah?
And the risk here, I mean, what are the dangers? What do you got to watch for when you make this?
So the danger is, and if you're anything like me as a home cook, you'll burn this if you don't watch it. So it's like making any caramel. Sugar works a little bit tricky, so you need to sort of keep an eye on it quite regularly. So you want to bring this to boil and then let it simmer until it thickens. But to that, you want to add as well pandanus leaf. It's what I call our Asian vanilla. It's got a very nice sort of aroma to it. You can add this to your rice if you're cooking rice. You can add this to coconut milk if you're bringing that to a boil. It just gives it that extra dimension of, you know, that fragrance. So what we want to do next, so while that's sort of cooking, I'll keep an eye on it if you want to start helping me with the sesame paste. I mean, look at me ordering Matt Preston. I like black sesame because it's a little bit more stronger, I think, in flavour than your normal sort of white sesame. And you want to toast this lightly. That's already toasted. And you want to put that in a mortar and pestle. So we want to crush that finely.
And what have you got? You've got a quarter of a cup there?
Yeah, I've got a quarter of a cup of black sesame. So the black sesame actually forms the filling of the dumpling. So once we make the dumplings, we're going to stuff it with a mixture of black sesame, and you'll see later some butter and some sugar as well.
In terms of the fineness of the finished sesame, you want it like that?
No, that's absolutely fine. You can actually go super fine, but I like the crunch, so I want to make it like kind of moderately fine. We'll start sort of combining this and melt the butter and sugar. So we're going to warm up about 60 grams of butter and use salted butter, because I think when you have such sweet filling, you want it to sort of, you know, balance it out with a bit of salt. Right, so that's just melting nicely, and I'll get you to add a quarter cup of sugar.
So,
right.
So you're literally just melting that sugar into the butter.
Yeah, and now we're going to tip that in.
So quarter of a cup of pounded black sesame.
Yep.
Do you want to give that a bit of a scrape?
That's looking quite good. So now we just need to let this dumpling filling cool, and we are ready to do the dough.
Great. So now dough, very, very simple dough, this one. Yeah?
Very simple dough. So the choice of flour is actually quite important. We are using glutinous rice flour. So glutinous rice, they're the basis of that stickiness that you get. And that's what I love about this dumpling. It has that sort of chewiness to it. Don't use plain flour, don't use rice flour, and don't use tapioca flour. So we've got 250 grams. So there's about a cup of water, and I'll find that with 250 grams of glutinous rice flour, you'll need about 3/4 to a cup. So you want to make it until it doesn't sort of stick to your hands. We can actually use the dough for savoury sort of stuff, so you can put whatever you want inside it, the filling. But today we're actually putting a sweet sort of filling. So when you get it to this consistency, so you'll find it doesn't stick, yeah? So that's the consistency that you want. So we've got the filling made, we've got the caramel made, and we've just made the dough. So the next is the all-important garnish.
We're here with Alvin Quah, star of Season 2 of MasterChef, and he's showing us a very simple, quick Malaysian dessert recipe for black sesame dumplings in a ginger syrup. Now, where are we? What have we done so far? What do we have to do next?
So we've got the black sesame filling already done. We've got the dough sitting right here. So next what we need to do is the garnish. So that's the fried wonton skin. So we'll head over there. So these are wonton skins that are actually cut in slim rectangles, matchsticks, or whatever you want to call it. Now, wonton skins, as you know, most of you would actually fill it with whatever, but you can actually use it, as I am today, as a garnish. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to fry this to a crisp, and then we're going to dip that in the caramel that we made earlier, and then we're going to coat it with a mix of black and white sesame. So, Matt, I'll get you to fry the wontons.
We're frying this in what sort of oil? Groundnut?
So this is just peanut oil. You can use any oil you want. I like peanut oil.
Just straight in, and they should fizz away. They're puffing up beautifully.
And you want to get it to a golden brown sort of colour. I love wonton skins because they're so versatile. You can actually make them into crackers if you want. You know, like with your beer, instead of nuts, you can actually salt this up and just crunch away with your glass beer. Right, so this is looking good. So we're going to drain this. So now what we want to do is take one of these and literally just dip that. You can dip as much into it as you want. So once it gets a nice coating, so this is the mix of black and white sesame, and just do that.
Are the sesame seeds toasted or are they just...
Pre-toasted. Do you want to do a couple?
Yeah, why not? The caramel's not hot, the sesame seeds aren't hot, these aren't hot. It's actually something you could do with kids.
Yeah.
You really don't want too much of that molassesy mixture on there, do you?
No. So the next thing we need to do is the ginger syrup, and we've got about 1.25 litres water. And to that, we're going to add about a cup of sugar. So this is caster sugar. We're also going to add 5-centimetre knob of ginger. So again, we're going to add that knot of pandanus leaf, and this gives it that extra sort of fragrance as well. Ideally, you just want to let that sort of simmer for about 20 minutes.
Well, Alvin, we're almost there. One last thing to do, that's shape the dumplings. Let's get some help. Kate, Alana, come up. This is Alvin.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good.
Hello.
Right, Alvin, show us the way you shape the dumplings, and let's start one first, yeah?
Sure. We'll just grab a small pinch, and then we'll shape that into a ball, like that. Then you make a dimple, just with your index finger. Now, this is the cool black sesame paste, so it's nice and sort of pliable now, so you can actually work with it a lot easier. So we'll just take a fraction, and you want to just sort of tip that in there, fold that through.
You want that dimple to be quite deep, don't you?
Yeah, and what you want to do now, just roll that. And that's one done.
Yeah, OK.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Alana, Kate, you ready to have a go?
Absolutely.
And do one too, Matt.
Yeah, why not?
You can make them as big or as small as you want.
Yeah,
really.
like
Doesn't
I
matter.
like them sort of dainty and
Yep.
small, in this instance.
It's such a smooth dough. It's
Yeah.
kind of fun to
Yeah.
play with.
Alana, Kate, thanks for your help.
Thank you. So now it's time to cook the dumplings. We've got a pot of boiling water here, and we'll just drop these dumplings in.
So how many of these can you cook at the same time?
Well, in this size pot, you can actually cook 10, 15 at the same time. So the idea is once they float up to the top, they're cooked. But it usually takes about 2 to 3 minutes. So these are looking good.
Great, well, let's plate up.
We might put another one.
Yeah, we'll put one more in. And so here we've got that lovely ginger syrup. You can smell that pandan vanilla flavour. Half a scoop on the top.
So now we need the wands, and we'll just sit them on top. So there we have it, my black sesame dumplings with ginger syrup.
Just in time. Just in time.
looks wonderful.
As always, it looks beautiful.
Wow. Now, is that one each?
Oh, yes, for 3 of my favourite judges.
Oh.
I don't know. Hang on a minute. I don't think it's for us somehow.
Let's get Michael and Alana up to taste. Come on, guys.
Go on, that means there's one spare. I think you should tuck in, guys, and have a taste.
Make sure you have some of that really crunchy wonton with that really glutinous, squidgy dumpling.
Good.
What I love is that when you bite it, you get that salty, buttery filling of the sesame seeds and that really glutinous, squidgy, stick to your teeth type dumpling.
They're absolutely perfect. I love those. They're really chewy and sticky,
Thank
which is gorgeous, and the saltiness from the sesame.
Oh, what do you reckon?
Yeah, it's great. I love the ginger syrup over it. I think it just lifts the entire dish. It's beautiful.
Oh, I love the pandan. It just adds an extra level to it. It's beautiful.
Alana, Michael, thank you.
Thank you. So my top 3 tips for my black sesame dumplings with ginger syrup are: number 1, use glutinous rice flour to give it that chewy texture. Number 2, use pandanus leaf to give it that extra fragrance. And number 3, when you're making your caramel, just be careful you don't take it over, it'll burn.
Well, it's been a very special masterclass. 3 of our old boys back in the house, but now the best bit, let's eat. Let's go.
Oh, look at them. Come on. All righty, who wants some wine?
There you go.
Thank you. What do you have?
Oh, Billy, is that yours?
Quail's really good.
Yeah, beautiful.
What about
Guys, I think we've seen today that inspiration comes in all sorts of weird shapes and sizes. But one thing is for sure, the coming weeks, inspiration will be far, far bigger.
Ooh, I love that.
So, to contestants past and those present.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Next time on MasterChef Australia, we're in New York City for a full week of challenges in the Big Apple.
Your first New York challenge is going to take you to every corner of this great city.
Manhattan!
Taking culinary invention to a new level. They need to find inspiration.
It's comforting to eat, comforting to cook.
To create their own restaurant quality dish. Get it wrong,
I probably planned to do too much.
and a devastating penalty awaits.
It is like the worst repercussions of any challenge ever.
I am shaking in my boots right at this moment.
Welcome to New York City. Welcome to the time of your life.